Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am Mase. You can find me on Twitter at CaliKing4917. This is the IDP Hunter podcast. Per usual, with me, Steve Hungarter, the IDP Hunter. How you feeling today, Steve?
What's going on, buddy?
Just another day in paradise, brother. Today, another special interview, great interview. Multi-sport athlete, records broken, fell in love with the sport of football, went away from it, came back. We'll let him tell the story. Mitch, how you doing, bro? When did you start playing football, and was it your first love? Is it your current love?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I started playing football, I think, like youth football. We started hitting kids in like fourth grade, and my dad was my coach. So from fourth through sixth grade, it was some extra time I could spend with my dad, and we love playing. We actually from fifth and sixth grade, we didn't lose a game. So it's easy to fall in love with the sport when you don't lose. So we hit the ground running back then.
Yeah, ain't that the truth, man? I have a question for you because me and Mase, we were doing these rookie profiles, and let me tell you, if I was to describe you in 3 words, I'd say superhuman athlete. Okay, you're coming from a D3 school, right?
Yes,
D3 school, and I'll let you tell your story. But like Mase was alluding to, you're a standout track athlete, track and field. You love volleyball. You played wide receiver. You played tight end as well as basketball. So my question to you is, what's your favorite sport if you had to pick just one of those?
I'd go with football. Like the love of the game, you never really leave it. Especially this year at the end of the season, I knew that I wanted to keep playing football and keep working out for it. But when we were just grinding in the off season, we were just hitting the weights, doing the sprints. But then when we were down at CGS at the showcase down in Texas, as soon as we put those pads back on, I was like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. So that kind of was a little affirmation for me that I'm doing the right thing.
Curious this move though. You said football is your favorite sport, right?
Yeah.
You come out of high school and you go right to Marquette College, right?
Marquette University, yeah.
Right. And then wait a minute here. Ready for this, Mase? There's no football team down there. I had to double check this. Yes, you're right. There's no football team down there. So my question is, what made you go to Marquette University if your passion is football? What got you down there?
Yeah, so in high school I was a 3-sport athlete, and I think I did pretty well in all 3 sports. So during football season, I was like, yeah, I want to play football in college. During basketball season, I was like, oh, maybe I'll go shoot some hoops in college. And then during track, it was like, let's go keep running track. But over the summer, after my junior year, I had a couple D1 looks for track. I went on some visits, and when I was on Marquette's campus, it kind of felt like home. They had a good story, had a good recruiting visit, and Peshko High School is a small school, so didn't get too many looks like higher divisions of football besides some D3 looks. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go chase this Division I dream. And then when I got to Marquette, me and my roommates, we all played football in high school. And as soon as the fall hit, we're all like, dang, we kind of wish we were still out still playing football. But I was like, I'm gonna finish my journey here, go achieve what I want to do, and then after I'm gonna go try and see if I can keep playing.
Mase, I got one more in this category for him, and this is a big one, okay? You mentioned track athlete. I think you're being modest because you broke the Marquette University record for the 400-meter hurdle, and you were named the All-Big East. And then you were close to being an Olympic athlete in track and field, right? In 800, I believe, right?
And what you said, what was the last thing?
Wasn't in the 800? You were close to being an Olympic athlete at one point?
Not in the 800. I mean, my 400 hurdle time was, I think, just over a second away from the Olympic standard my last year at Marquette. So, yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I had a Marquette school record in the 400 hurdles, and then I'm number 4 all time now in the indoor 400. And then we got a couple top 10 marks indoor, outdoor, 4x4, and like the 600 and stuff like that. So, yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun and did pretty well at Marquette. So it was a good experience.
I'm showing my age here, guys, but I don't know if you remember the movie The Rocketeer.
I've never seen it now.
Yeah, it's like an old Disney, but forget about it. But anyway, I could just imagine you with rockets on your back, just going down the field. So I guess my question is, I got a long way of saying it here, but what's your regiment to stay in such great shape? Not just football shape, but superhuman athlete shape.
Yeah, I mean, especially in track, we run like 3 to 4 times a day. So, we burn a lot of calories, just eating healthy, making sure I put the right stuff in my body. But Also, you know, you got to move around and work out every day. So you go a couple days off, that kind of bites you in the butt. So just got to make sure I'm always working out, even if it's like a 30-minute jog or something like that. Just keeping active.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, you said your father coached you for 2 years and you guys didn't lose for both those years?
Yeah, in 5th and 6th grade. Yeah.
So was it fun having your dad as a coach? Was it your favorite coach? And like, what are some things that he kind of instilled in you?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of my favorite coaches, I'd say. I mean, yeah, obviously not losing, you know, it's hard to be mad at a coach with that. So,
Right.
but yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was like I know we had a big school or a big class at that time, so we had 2 different teams in my grade level. So it was just like playing against your friends and playing with your friends in some football games. So it was a lot of fun. You know, it's hard to really get too deep into it when we're in 5th and 6th grade. So it was just go out there, you run the plays that you get told to, and then it was a lot of fun. You know.
Yeah. So you also had a really unique opportunity. You announced the NFL draft pick.
Yeah, back in I think my freshman year of high school, we were down in Chicago for the draft, and it was the late round 7. I mean, I had a broken arm at the time, so I don't know if it was like a pity invite, but one of the workers walked by, and my dad's like, "Hey, can my kid announce a pick?" And they're like, "Yeah, for sure." So they brought me up on stage, and it was a pretty sweet experience.
That's awesome. So you announced Thomas Duarte. He ended up being drafted to the Dolphins. He was also a tight end.
Yeah.
Did you play tight end when you were younger? Like, how special was that pick for you?
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, younger, I was like a wing back when we were running the single wing, and then in high school, I was a wide receiver. Then we switched back to the single wing, and then played a little tight end / wide receiver there. So yeah, it's pretty cool. You know how it all works out coming back to play tight end now.
Yeah. So kind of go into like football mode, I guess. Playing tight end requires versatility. You have to block like, you know, an insane madman, and then you got to catch with finesse of someone, you know, like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, what have you. How do you prepare yourself to do each role? And do you feel that you could do each role well?
Yeah, I mean, at St. Norbert, I mainly played outside wide receiver, but at CGS, the showcase down in Texas, I played mainly tight end, so that was a lot of fun. And you know, just knowing the game plan, our coaches instilled in us, like if we want to catch the ball, we have to make sure we're good blockers. And our coaches always said, blocking for your teammates is how you show you love them and how you love the game. So, you know, we go out there, we take a lot of pride in blocking. So just being, and it's also really fun to like put someone else on their butt and drive them out of bounds. So just being hard nosed and being aggressive at the point of attack is really fun. And then, yeah, obviously catching the ball and scoring touchdowns is always pretty sweet. So just making sure you're ready for the moment when the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, for sure. When you're lined up pre-snap, kind of what's going through your head? You said you played a lot of wide receiver this past season. Do you think that there's a lot that you've kind of like went through pre-snap or watched on film that as a wide receiver you can kind of bring to the table as an NFL perspective tight end?
Yeah, just seeing the defense, you know, where the cornerbacks lined up, where the linebackers and safeties are. We had a lot of like, if we were on one-on-one, me and the quarterback had a lot of like leeway to change the route or just figure out what we want to do together. And we were on a pretty good trust basis. So yeah, just knowing where our leverage is, and if the quarterback can hit me on a one-on-one shot, you know, that's kind of what we were trying to do every play.
So how did you go about building that chemistry with your quarterback? Because you kind of have a limited time at that college playing.
Yeah, definitely. Coming in the summer before, I didn't really know him yet, but you know, just working out after practice, catching extra balls, and then the summer in between my 2 years, we spent a lot of time. You know, we didn't live too far apart, like an hour and a half. So driving there once a week, you know, just making sure we're getting those reps in.
Yeah, for sure. Steve, you got anything for him?
Yeah, you already kind of alluded to it. I was hoping to kind of look at some of your tape, because one thing does stand out when you're playing wide receiver, you always line up on the outside. You're an outside wide receiver.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of your role. It's kind of defined. What I was wondering though, you know, for tight end, I can't call it. You know, how would you define your role as a tight end? Like what kind of profile, what kind of tight end do you see yourself fit in? And I guess a follow-up question to that is, do you have a player comp for yourself?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a comp for myself specifically because, you know, I'm in a unique situation, you know, didn't really play football exactly for the last like 6 years, like these guys coming out. But I like the way like Sam Laporta plays the game. You know, he loves to block, he loves to get his nose deep, but, you know, he's also one of those deep threat passes, and, you know, he's a quarterback friendly guy. So I watch a lot of his tape just to figure out, like, as my transition to figure out what I can do better, you know. I'm excited to put my nose down, get in line, and block some guys, but also, split me out as an extra weapon against the linebacker I can beat one-on-one.
So for those on Spotify that can't see our screen, and for those that are on Apple Podcast, welcome in. Those on iHeartRadio, welcome in. We're on YouTube. We're talking to Mitchell. What we're going to do is maybe we're going to pull up some tape like Mase just had, and maybe you can walk us through a play or two, just, describe your rationale, what you're thinking.
Yeah, for this one right here, I mean, we were obviously one-on-one. The safety is a little down close to the line of scrimmage. So we have a green light to, just run that fade ball. And I know with my speed and size, if I can just get past him, the quarterback's going to trust me and go get that ball. So that's just kind of what we did there, high point it up there and bring it down.
Nice. So 50-50 balls, is that your game, you think? Or
yeah, I think I can definitely excel in that, especially at, the D3 level and the guys that we were playing against. I had that size and speed differential. And I mean, I think I can do that at any level. I trust myself to go up and go get a ball.
Yeah, that last one was super impressive, man. You kind of had to go behind his back there and get it. It looked like you're getting ready to hit that back fade jump ball, and
yeah, for
still
sure.
adjusted and actually really, really well. That was a great play. What about this one?
Yeah, I mean, if you can play it through, I can remember what we got here.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, I had to go crack that linebacker, and like I said before, that's how we show our team that we love each other, And I knew that he didn't really look at me coming out, and I knew I had a chance to really throw him. So it was nice to get my hands on him and just shove him when he didn't really see it coming.
Yeah, no, it was a great play, man. Nice setup there.
Mase always asks this question for our IDP guys. Would you rather make a big sack, or would you rather have a big INT? I'm going to ask the offensive guy, hey, would you rather make a good crack, a good block, or would you rather get that game-winning catch? Like what's your favorite play if you had one on the field?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's hard to turn down a game-winning touchdown pass, but at the same time, when you're setting a crack block for a running back and he breaks off a huge run, it's a little different. It's a little more sense of pride that you're you just manhandled another person. So that kind of comes with that.
Yeah. I kind of mentioned this earlier, and I described you as a superhuman athlete, 3 words. When you're doing these profiles, all these scouts, they're not on the field seeing what you're saying, but they'll say pass catching tight end or H-back, this kind of thing. If you were to describe yourself in 3 words, I know I'm putting you on the spot here. How would you describe yourself, Mitch?
Probably a high ceiling player. I mean, I obviously only played football for the last 2 years in the college system, and I think I took big strides each year that I did that. And I think, coming from wide receiver back down to tight end, I think my ceiling's way up there. And if I can just get in a good system with a good coach behind me and teach me, what they want to teach me, I think I can go really make an impact at the next level.
Yeah. How would you describe your route tree? We just saw the previous play was kind of out and then up. And here you got a pretty deep post. It looked like. Is there anything that you can't do? What's your favorite route?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can do whatever's asked of me. I did a lot of back shoulder fade balls and some right here, a deep post. But it was nice using my speed against those smaller DBs. And I think that, with my track speed, if you get me running downhill, down 30, 40 yards, I can definitely keep using my speed to outwork the defense. So I think that's definitely a deep post is always fun, but, throwing a jump ball in the end zone and going up and get it, I think my bread and butter. But yeah, I think I can do whatever route's asked of me.
Well, did you just block him into his coach or into the bench? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's killer.
When some guys talk a little bit at the line of scrimmage, you got to show them what you can do.
Hey, I love to hear that. You love to see it, man. Pretty aggressive.
I was gonna ask him that, but he already answered. I'm like, what's your favorite play? Do you like a go route? Do you like a post route? He can't answer. Would you consider yourself like a red zone threat? You know what I mean? Because I'm seeing a lot of plays. Yeah. Yeah,
for sure, a red zone threat. I mean, we had a one play that, if we're inside 20 yards, we would just go throw me an end zone fade every single time. So definitely took pride in that. Me and the quarterback were always usually on the same page. So it's something our offense could trust and something that we really believed in.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good
here. You got no safety, 1-on-1. Bam.
That game, actually, we ran that play 3 times in a row and just marched down the field to score for the first time.
That's crazy. That's awesome, though, that you guys have that chemistry and you guys are able to do that. Like you said, that's cool that you take pride in it because it's something, being that man, putting the team on your shoulders whenever they kind of need you. That's a really good trait to have. So you've been getting a lot of buzz lately. How do you feel about that? Like as far as the draft goes, media, have any NFL teams talked to you? Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, definitely picking up some steam, which I, definitely grateful for. Coming from a D3 school, it's tough to put my name out there. But, the CGS showcase really helped me going be down in Texas and being labeled as a standout tight end there. So that was definitely helpful.
Awesome. How do you prepare for something like that?
I've been up in the UP at Marquette, Michigan, training at Advantage. And, we have a really good trainer and a really good support staff. And there's a lot of guys up here training for the NFL too. So it's been just surrounding myself with good people and good guys and making sure that I'm ready for that opportunity when it presents itself.
Yeah, here's a good play right here. Your blocking shows because you go up and that corner completely bites, man. So
yeah, our coaches always tell us, if we want to get open in the pass game, make sure we got to make sure we're good blockers so they actually respect the block. So, it's definitely a shout out to our coaching for instilling good values in us.
Look at these plays, Mitch. You are a weapon. I'm changing it from superhuman athlete to weapon. One word. Look at this. You're beating the little guys with your strength, and you're beating the bigger guys with your speed. Look at this. All these red zone plays, Mace.
Yeah.
You want to go out and play catch.
Just deep middle of the field plays. Hungry blocker, man. Look at that.
Yeah, I knew coming from a small school that some guys might be skeptical of the competition that we played. So, I just knew in the back of my head I got to be extra physical and make sure I go put some good stuff on tape.
That's a good question too. Because, scouts, coaches, NFL fans, people like us, we're looking at film. And not the whole body of work doesn't show up on film a lot of times. So I guess the question, I'm going to put him on the spot again, Mace, so forgive me, Mitch. What would be one thing you'd say about yourself that you'd want a scout or a fan or a coach to know that doesn't stand out on film that you can't see between the pads? Like what's Mitch like outside the pads?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a good guy, locker room guy. Love all my teammates. Make sure we're all getting along, having a good time, and just that I'm a hard worker. My mom was a public school teacher for like 20 plus years, so she taught us, always be continuous learners. Always look for a way to learn. So I take that with me in everything I do, whether that's in school or in the playbook. Always looking for opportunity to improve myself and keep learning.
Okay. Now, did you? I asked you this earlier offline. Did you grow up in Wisconsin, or did you move to Wisconsin? What's your background?
Yeah, I grew up in a small town, Peshka, Wisconsin. There's like 3,000 people that live there. Then, obviously went to Marquette University down in Milwaukee. So that was a little change of pace for me, which I loved it. Love the city of Milwaukee. Love a little different experience. It's not the country, it's downtown city life. So that was a lot of fun. And then, then St. Norbert's in De Pere, which is right outside Green Bay. So 45 minutes away from home. So it's nice for my family could come to all my games, and it's not a flight across the country. It's just a drive down the road.
Heck yeah, blue collar guy. I like that. Bring your lunch pail to work kind of guy. Hey, question for you in regards to that. Were you a big fan of like the Packers, the Brewers, or any local teams like the Bucks?
Yeah, I love Wisconsin sports. Grew up a Packer fan. I was a big fan of Donald Driver growing up, and then we also took a lot of vacations to Florida. So I actually ended up liking the Dolphins growing through my high school, middle school years. So a little change of pace for a Wisconsin guy, but I love the Packers, love the Dolphins, and just looking for fun opportunities.
All right, here's the real question the fans want to know. Okay, this is the toughest question I got for you. Okay, cheese curds, fried or fresh? And in the two-part to that, the audience doesn't know what a cheese curd is. Can you explain it?
Yeah, it's a little ball of cheese that's deep fried. It's hard to beat that. You go find a restaurant on the side of the road in Wisconsin, you pull in and you get those cheese curds. You can't not eat those. They're the best around.
So if you ever get a sponsorship for cheese curds, you could thank IDP Hunter over here.
Yeah, I'll have to split it with you.
No, you earned it.
We put it on the show, man.
Yeah.
So a lot of NFL offenses utilize pre-snap motion. I don't know if that was something that you did a lot in college. Was it something they asked you to do at the showcase?
Yeah, we had it in our offense in college. We didn't use it too much, but we did towards the end of the season use it a little bit. And no, we didn't use it down at the showcase, but I'm a quick learner. I love to learn, like I said earlier. So yeah, definitely something I'd be interested in doing. And I think it's definitely a strong part of offenses. Get a little mismatches and show what the defense is looking at. So it's definitely beneficial.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're starting off as like a tight end too on the field, you can obviously you're a red zone threat, right? You got the speed and the size, man. So if you can get down and dirty there, then, maybe the defense forgets about you, a couple times a season, slip through. Special teams, is that something that you've done before? You open to that?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely open to it. I was on field goal all 2 years that I was at St. Norbert. And, I did a little KOR and asked to do some more of that stuff in practice. So towards the end of the years, they didn't really want to use me as much on special teams, because they didn't want to risk injury or anything like that. But yeah, definitely open to that, and definitely looking to make an impact anywhere, whether that's offense or special teams.
Did you play special teams when you were like in junior high, high school, anything like that?
Yeah, in high school I was on everything but kickoff coverage. So I was a kick returner, punt returner, and everything like that.
Okay, did not know that. And then because a lot of guys get kind of like typecast, like they're forever Devin Hester in the special teams role. What drew you specifically to the tight end position?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously loved watching wide receivers growing up, but being a bigger, broader guy, it's at like 245. I thought that I could use my skill position there, and you also get to go in line. You get to be in the dirt with the O lineman. You get to move some guys around and make sure that everyone knows how physical you are. So it's definitely, I think, using my size and speed to my advantage.
I always wondered this one too. Like wide receivers, they have to study defenses, identify weaknesses, as do quarterbacks. I wonder how different that is for a tight end. Like, how do you approach that? Study defenses and identify weaknesses or holes you could exploit. I wonder if it's different.
Yeah, I think you just got to take more into account. Like at wide receiver, we're basically just looking at corners and safeties, not really linebackers. But if you're down at tight end, you got to look at DNs, linebackers, and safeties. Yeah, so it's just a little more intricate, I believe.
Mase, he won't tell me who it is, though. I offered him cheese curds. He won't tell me who.
I don't know if the GM even knows at this point, man.
Yeah, my workout's actually on next Monday, so I know it's in Green Bay, so I won't be able to get to see that.
So how do you go about watching film? And do you study specific players, play styles? Do you define yourself to one kind of style? I know you said earlier that your mother really instilled in you to be open and always be looking to learn. So what's your thought process there?
Yeah, definitely like watching film. As a wide receiver and quarterback group last year, we vowed to watch X amount of hours together. So, just on my own, watching film, watching the defense, watching the corners and see how they like to play. Because some corners like to go up and press you and some aren't as physical. So just knowing that if they want to be hit or not. And then the guys who don't really like to be hit, make sure you punch them in the mouth early in the game. So they kind of back off you. But then, yeah, just studying the film, seeing what the defense likes to get and what plays that you think we'd be running during the game.
Yeah. So when you actually do make contact with that player and put hands on them, what's going through your head? Do you find joy in it? Are you just straight gritty? You know what I mean? Old school, warrior style. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you gotta be physical, so just go out and try to move a guy. As soon as you feel their feet, kind of get off the ground, that's when you can really start pushing. That's where the joy comes from. But yeah, definitely just try to get in the grill and make a big play for your teammates coming behind you.
Yeah. So whether it's route running, your actual ability to catch the ball, go up and get it, your red zone threat ability, what do you think is your best trait? And then also, what do you think is your most underrated trait?
Yeah, my best trait I think is probably going to go get that jump ball. I definitely have a lot of confidence in my ability to win those 50-50 balls. So I think that's probably my best trait. And most underrated trait, I'd probably say, is my blocking. I took 2 years off of football, so that's something that when I came back, I used to run around track for 4 years. So come back to meet someone in a hole, it's definitely a change of pace. But that's something that I took pride in my last year at St. Norbert and really made that big jump.
Yeah. What's your diet like to maintain the tight endness, but also the finesseness?
Yeah, so at Marquette, I was probably 225 weight, and I knew that as I want to be a tight end, I had to bulk up. So drinking a lot more protein shakes, and up here we got a great guy who meals preps for us. So just making sure we're eating 3-4 meals a day and getting those protein shakes in.
Tell them the truth. Tell them cheese curds. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
A cheat meal here and there can't hurt with getting some extra weight, and so definitely that once in a while too.
Mase invented a new word this podcast, tight endness. I don't know if that's a word. I like it.
Oh, man.
I'm going to use that, tight endness.
Definitely going to have to coin that get a patent for that or something.
Get a patent. Hey, you know what I was thinking? You guys were talking. Obviously no brainer. The speed on track and field helped you as a tight end. obviously no brainer. Your mother's teaching background, football IQ, another no brainer. You're a hardworking guy. You're a local guy. We said it earlier, bring lunch pail to work. Is there any other off-field attributes that people may not know about you that, in your opinion, has helped you become the football player and the man you are today?
Probably just, hanging out with my friends. Growing up, we biked like 10, 20 miles every single day because we biked to school, biked to get groceries, or like bike to go eat something. So, at a young age, me and my friends, we've always been active. We played a lot of ultimate frisbee at strength and conditioning class growing up. So I think that also helps tracking those jump balls. So that's definitely a good thing. And then, I always loved, me and my friends always plays beach volleyball in the summer. So just, it's a nice way to stay active. And instead of just laying around at the beach or something, we can go toss the beach volleyball around and lose some calories.
Heck yeah. You're speaking my language because I played a little tight end, played a lot of defense, played a little tight end growing up. The camaraderie you get in the locker room, or just in general, that brotherhood is amazing. And you'll go far in life with that mentality,
Yeah, I mean, me and my friends on the track team, we were close, but, we hung out after school and stuff like that. But a football locker room is definitely a different vibe, and you can't really get that outside of any other sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know for sure. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I'm just looking for a great opportunity. I think that I can help out in any system. I think I'm a good developmental player, but also can make an impact right away. So just looking for an opportunity to show what I can do.
Yeah, well, I mean, no doubt, man. Your phone will be ringing at some point on draft day, probably multiple times by multiple guys. So
yeah, hoping so.
You know what I want to know, Mase? When he's like a successful millionaire and the 49ers draft him, be the next.
Hey,
I want to know if he'll come back on the show. That's what I want to know. You come back and see us when you're famous one day.
Yeah, I mean, I'd come on every week if you guys want me to.
Yeah, baby.
There you go. We got a trio here.
Lock him in now, dude.
Oh man. Well,
yeah,
it was great chatting football with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys having me on and letting me tell my story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Mase, can you show the promo as well? I don't know if
yes, I can.
Available.
So
for the audience at home, we're in this fast draft app, me and Mase. We're doing a best ball tournament. I don't know if you follow fantasy football, Mitch, but it's like pretty much you draft players and they stay there. But we're in the middle of one of the biggest tournaments right now. Just go to fastdraft.com. There's a $50. If you do $50, you get a $50 match. Just type in the word Hunter. Or you go on Draft Player Profiler. They got an all-in package, $25 off, keyword Hunter. So if you guys remember Hunter, just go over there, check that out. Me and Mase, we're going to do some future content on how our teams look. We're probably going to argue that back and forth like brothers, Yeah. But that's all I wanted to show you. That's all I've been working on. Blessing, and thank you so much for having me on with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Do you play really quick? Sorry, last 1 minute question for Alex. Do you play fantasy football? Have you played fantasy football, Mitch?
Yeah, I played fantasy football with my college friends from Marquette. Yeah.
Who was your first pick did you play last year?
Yeah, I'm in a dynasty league, so we've been drafting rookies.
Okay. All right, my man, season. Okay, we'll have to link up and get a league going or something, man.
We'll have to get him in the RPO drafts, and then we'll have to fight him to who's going to draft himself.
I know, right?
That's what our fantasy group chat's arguing about every day when we're hopping on.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Love it.
Mitch, thank you for coming on so much, man, sharing your story and how unique it is, and just know that you got two fans right here, and all of our listeners will be definitely rooting for you on draft day, bro.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks once again for letting me come on and share my story.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so for Steve, I'm Mase. This has been the IDP Hunter podcast, and we are out. Check you guys next time.
Talk hard, everybody.